there. This is my first time going live on YouTube, so I'm not quite sure how this is going to show up for you, but if not, we'll record it and that will be fine. In case you missed it, January 3rd starts the brand new catalog. It's a cute little mini catalog for Stampin' Up! It starts January 3rd, but it's also Salabration. Salabration, if you're new, means that for every $50 that you spend, you get to choose something free. And when they first showed us the new things coming and we got to preview the new catalog a couple of months ago, I fell in love with this stamp set, and little did I know that it was something you could earn for free. So today I'm going to show you, as my first pick from the new catalog, the gang's all Meer, right? So cute. Meerkats. And the reason I think I love them is because they kind of look like Shih Tzus. And as you know, 2 Shih Tzus live with me, and I've had multiple Shih Tzus in my life. And they are just the cutest little faces. And when they stand up to beg, this is what they look like. So we are going to make this card. Just really basic, really simple, but really cute. Adding a couple of techniques to go with it. So what are you going to need? You're going to need some Whisper White to make your card base. You're going to need a piece of Calypso Coral. No, it is not. It is Costal Cabana. I get those C words confused. Costal Cabana and another piece of Whisper White. So let's get our cutting going. I'll put the measurements up for you below here. They're not complicated. You are going to start with a piece of Whisper White that's 8.5 by 11, and you're going to cut it in half. So then you're going to have 8.5 by 5.5. You're going to score this at 4 1/4 using your new trimmer, which if you don't have this yet, you are going to want to pick this up. And definitely it will go towards earning free product if you waited till Salabration. So there is your card base, right? And then you're going to have a piece of Costal Cabana to sit right on top, and that is going to be, it looks like I didn't cut this right, so I'm going to double check and see what size. I want this to be 5 1/4 by 4. And I feel like I got the 4 right, but I don't think I got the 5 1/4. I didn't. So let me start again, because it won't look right if it's off by a little. So let's grab ourselves a new piece of paper. All right, this is going to be 5 1/4, right, by 4. Okay, and this piece is going to go right on here. But before I put it down, because I'm going to cover it up, I'm going to punch out the pretty label punch as long as it's in the middle. And then I make sure that my background for my punch is going to match, for my sentiment, is going to match what goes on my card front. So I'm just going to glue this little baby down using our snail. And now, because I got the right size, it will fit and leave a nice even frame of Whisper White around it. That looks pretty funky in there, but we're going to cover that up, so don't worry. Card base is ready. This is a piece of Whisper White, and this is going to be 3 3/4 by 5. Again, I'll put measurements down below. I just want to double check, make sure we have this right. 3 3/4 by 5. We did. And this is where our stamping is going to go. Now remember, when you're using the cling mount is the red, let me bring one of these, the red stamps. And you can see that they have a little bit of foam behind them already. Those are great. I don't need anything underneath it. I can do it on a nice smooth surface. If you notice, my desktop is tile, so I need to have something here when I'm stamping on it. And I use this little piece of white that's nice and smooth. I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black because I'm going to do some coloring with my blends. And this is the best ink for that purpose. So I'm going to ink up this little gang of Meers. Make sure I have good ink coverage. And I'm going to put them kind of off to one side, about here. All right? They're so cute. Then I've got this guy who is coming up out of his little hole. And I'm going to put him down here. Right? Then I have one more guy. I have this guy. And I'm going to do that on a piece of scrap Whisper White. I'm going to do some fussy cutting, which sounds horrible, but it's really not that bad. He's not a lot of detail. It's not like he's a peacock or anything. Let's zoom in so that you can see the coloring. And I'm going to color him with, let me stamp the other two things I want. I've got this scrap of paper, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment, which is, "We're here for you." So I'm going to stamp that right here. And then as close as I can, I'm going to stamp this little lizard, chameleon, whatever else would be hanging out with these guys. And I want him as close to the U without, sorry if my hair is in your way. I want him right there. As close as I can, but not on the ink. Okay? Now I'm ready. Put my cover on. And I'm going to punch this out with my 1.5 inch circle. You can see they all fit nice, lizard and that is going to go right here on my pretty label that we did, right? But he needs to be colored in a little bit. So we've got some things to color now. And I did my lizard in Old Olive Light, and I use the tiny end for the tail so I can get good control and not color outside the lines because I don't want to color in those spots. I'm going to do some Flirty Flamingo to give my spot to color in my spots, okay? Coloring away, Mr. Lizard. Right? Oh, he's so cute. And I'm not really going to worry about shading or anything because he's really tiny. It's not really worth the time it would take to try and do a lot of shading because he's just so little. You could if you want. If you have lots of time to color Mr. Lizard, you could. I'm even going to give him some pink eyes. There he is. So now he's ready to go on this piece. All right, there he is. Okay, so that's going to go right here in a minute. We're not ready yet. And now we're ready to color these guys. It depends on you and how much time you want to color. You could pick one or two to color in, or you could color them all. In this case, I did color them all, but for time, I'm just going to pick one or two. And I'm using dark crumb cake and light crumb cake. When I color these guys, I start with the light one first, and then come back and add my shading. And I like to use the brush end of the Stampin' Blends. Remember, Stampin' Blends come in sets of 2, light and dark, or you can buy individuals. They are not refillable, but they are so easy to use compared to other alcohol markers I've used. And we're going to kind of color the ground. Now the reason these guys survive is they blend in with their surroundings. So then we're going to bring in our dark, and we're going to add some shading in here now. Right? And then he needs a little bit of shading. I let the stamp set tell me where the shading is going to go. Right? Then I'm going to grab, let's zoom you in tight so you can see. Then I'm going to grab my light one And I'm going to go back over and kind of blend all of this in together. And you won't see any harsh lines anymore. Now, if you feel like his face just kind of falls away and you can't see it that well, that's where you bring in the color lifter. Again, I use the brush end, and you're just going to lightly go over the area you'd like to highlight. And you can see that his face gets a little bit brighter. Okay, it's not a lot, but it does a little. I'm then going to take my dark one. This is my dark crumb cake, and I'm going to go over this guy just kind of on his face. Because I'm only going to color this one in. I'm going to leave the others. But I'm going to leave his belly. Now, I told you I like to start with a light one. I'm showing you how to start with the dark one in case that was something you might want to do. So you notice I colored in the dark areas and I left the lighter. Then I come back with my lighter one and I'm going to blend that in. And you'll see as it dries, there really won't be as much of a line between the light and the dark. All right. So there's him. Oh, let's take our light and let's just do the ground under our Meerkats. We could shade them in, figuring out where the lighting is coming from, but we really don't have to. This is pretty good. Just give him a little bit of color so we know that he's not just floating out of nowhere, he's on the ground, right? But I want to make sure that he shows, so I'm not going to go right up to him. I'm going to kind of go around him and highlight him. Okay, now we've got one more thing to add. This guy. And this guy is going to kind of highlight for us, so we're going to take a minute and color him in. So we're going to start with our light. And we're going to color him. You notice that it's not any pressure at all on this paper. I'm just barely coming down with a color, but it's just enough. A light hand actually makes it go a little quicker and a little easier. And then the dark one, again, go with the marks that the stamp set has for you. The artist on the stamp set already told you where to highlight him. And then a little bit of light to blend it all together. That's it. All right, it's not hard. It really isn't. Start, if you've never colored before, go with a little stamp set. Don't try and do, this is more difficult to get the colors the way you want it. As you can see, there's still some kind of shading in there. I could come back and fight with it a little. I don't think it hurts it. To fussy cut him, when you fussy cut, you're going to turn the paper, not the scissors. So notice my scissors kind of stay in place, and I turn my paper to cut around him. And I'm not cutting super close to him. I'm cutting kind of around the edges, leaving a little white border. It's really okay. I wanted him to kind of pop off the page, so that's why I'm going to fussy cut him. I could have just stamped him on there and I'd have been all right. It wouldn't have mattered. All right, there he is. Now I'm going to grab some dimensionals and put them right on the back. Whoops. And then I'm ready to put this card together. He's going to go here, right? And you can see how your blends go through to the back. But we're sticking it down so no one's going to know. We're going to put this right on here. So if you, like me, think, oh my gosh, this Meerkats, I need the Meerkats. How do we get them? The Meerkats are part of Salabration, which means that you can get them free with a $50 order placed on my website. If you're trying to find my website, the easiest way is to go to caramiller.com and you can click on shop. You can also click on my classroom, which has lots of free things for you, lots of free classes, as well as my club. So I want you to be sure and check that out and leave me a comment. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you know when I'm here. You'll get a little notice that says I've added a new video, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye.